This is a blog for Tuesday the 14th of October. World War I project, it'll be over by Christmas. To start the session off, we recapped our previous learning from last session. And we got asked, what did we learn last week? I personally and my group learned that everyone's important in the piece, as the only male in our piece, Josh, had an asthma attack during the performance last session when we were performing to our peers. So, unknowingly to us, he had to sit out halfway through the piece, and we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know what he was doing. We just thought he'd had enough or something. So that meant that someone had to take over Josh's role and fill his place, which I stepped up and did that because I'm a year 2. I'm used to thinking on the spot and improvising, which I did. What skills did you develop? I put down improvisation skills and thinking on my feet, because I had to improvise last session because of Josh having to sit out. So if I hadn't have improvised, I think everyone else would have panicked and would have said, we can't continue. Well, you can't do that in the industry. If something happens like that, you've just got to keep going. So this ensured me to be able to think on my feet quickly. Target for today's session is to finish the piece and reach a climax within the piece. So making the finishing off the piece, the movement, and making the movement really physical at one point. And my personal target was to let other people take charge, as I don't do that very often because I get quite annoyed when people don't input ideas, so then I just step up anyway and do it for them. But then that means they won't learn anything. I'll learn something, but they won't. So I need to let people take ownership instead of me all the time, which I did do today. And finally, can you see the installation developing? Yes, myself and my group can see that our piece is progressing each week, apart from the previous week where we regressed because we went away from the original idea. But apart from that, we're developing new skills and we're learning how to apply dynamics. And we're going to present our proposals. We presented our proposals again today for the final time. So we got marked today on our presentations, and I'll put down what I said in the presentation below in the blog. My question was, what is your intention? I received a distinction for the presentation, and I don't need to submit any additional notes, as the tutors can see that I understand the piece. I know what the piece is about, and I'm helping and contributing in a group effort. So therefore, I don't need to submit any additional notes, which I'm quite glad about this. And then we went we underwent a one-to-one today, looking at our projected grades, which I got told I need to let other people take charge and don't take control as much, which I realised this myself, so I did that this session. We then went on to our devised pieces, and we completely stripped it back, and in an external rehearsal I created a piece of movement for myself, Ashley, Laura and Leah to do, as we're on the floor while the others are stood up on top. So I created a piece of movement which I'll post the video underneath and it'll be called Movement Piece. I created that floor work, and I taught it to Leah, Laura, Ashley, and they picked it up really, really easily, and it looks really effective. It's simple, but it's really effective, as you'll see in the video. I then gave Beth, Vicky and Frankie the task to create something within their section. So I didn't create their section for them, they created it themselves. And then we had to add Josh into the piece and use him, because Josh can break dance and he can do freezes. We thought we'd use this to our advantage. So we have Josh in the centre of the piece, at the centre of the choreography, So it shows that no matter how many women there are, men are always in the centre of the operation. So we had him doing various freezes, which look really effective because he can do that, and it makes the piece look more physical and gives it more of a climax. So we're really pleased about this and the fact that we added Josh doing this. We went on to clarifying movement and rejecting and accepting choreography ideas. We have changed the choreography an awful lot to make it more simple and more effective. So we rejected some material and cut it down and changed it, so it looks really nice. On the second factory conveyor belt, we've added in sounds like beeps and brrrts and dings to make the piece more creative and effective, which it really works well. And it heightens certain sections in the piece. And we have Beth saying, come into the factories, as I've mentioned in a previous blog. She does look like the woman on the propaganda picture, which is what we're going with, and we're all looking up to Beth and trying to be like Beth. But she's obviously the woman on the picture. So the adding the movement and then adding on top the speech and then the dialogue is proven to be really, really effective. We then performed this to our peers and we got given feedback. Well done, a really strong and effective piece. You have responded to last week's feedback and actioned it. The use of vocals has enhanced the piece. It has brought emphasis and understanding to the piece. However, we need to improve by working on the transitions between coming to the factories and the machinery line. So we need smoother transitions, which you will see in the video that there is a problem with it. I say a comment, my hair's caught in the machine, which initiates the climax to let Beth know that the piece is coming to an end. Unfortunately, I didn't realise that this could be seen as a comical line, so we have to reject this idea and take it out of the piece because it doesn't work. If the piece was comical throughout, it would have worked more. Everyone needs to project vocals more, because when we're moving, we're still creating sounds and people are banging on the floor. So we need to be more projected within our voice and within our movements, because we need to make our clarity of movements much more projected and opened up to the audience, because it'll look so much cleaner. We need to look at the clarity of movements and consider dynamics by adding impacts, impulses, rebounds, swings, and impacts, impulse, rebounds, swings, and continuous ones. And this will make the movements, this will flavour and colour the movements more. So it'll develop the piece even more, which we'll apply next week and look at how to do. My strength of the session was letting other people take ownership and control, staying focused and completing the piece, which we're very proud about as a company. My weakness was I could have stepped down more than what I did. And my other weakness was failing to recognise a comedy line. So this has meant that we've needed to reject some material, but this is good because this shows development improvement. Target for next session is to continue developing the clarity of movement and to get everyone to project more, including myself, so that the piece can well and truly reach a climax. And this concludes this blog.